I know I'm not tech savvy. Well, welcome to Angels Haven's Circle of Love weekly. I call it a support group, but it's actually just a weekly talk where we get together weekly to share life experiences for those who have been in domestic violence or who is currently suffering in domestic violence or partner abuse. Sometimes on Thursdays, we have webinars and we just have information to share for those individuals who are seeking independency and sometimes just looking for additional resources and help. Tonight we have Charisse Scott. I'm going to have her introduce herself. So just as a disclosure, know in case you want to turn your cameras off or remove your names, we are going to be live on Facebook and we are going to be live on YouTube, and it will be saved to our YouTube channel. But I just wanted to make that disclosure because I know how important it is for us to have privacy during these times. So the purpose of Circle of Love is to create a safe and supportive space to support intimate partner violence and or trauma, to connect and help each other cope and share similar experiences. We also educate and share tools to become independent, which we are doing tonight. You can listen, vent, ask questions, or share, but most importantly, heal. Feel free to turn your cameras off. Feel free to ask questions. You can raise your hand, and Ms. Charisse will definitely be answering your questions. Don't be afraid or ashamed to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's heal through sharing. We do meet every Thursday at 7 o'clock here on Zoom. It is the same password, same username, same link every Thursday. We also meet every last Saturday of each month, and it happens to be this Saturday. We will be meeting at 6 o'clock, and that is a different link password. But I will share that information in the chat. It is also found on our website, which is www.angelshaven.com. Our guest this week will be Pastor David Collins. He's coming this Saturday as David Collins, but he is from Georgia. He is a wonderful man of God, truly transparent. You can talk to him about anything. If you ever wanted to ask a pastor a question and get a real answer, this Saturday will be the time to ask that question. I don't know what he's coming with. I do know he plays the sax for us for our annual domestic violence awareness fundraiser and brunch. If you're in Maryland, I do hope you will get your tickets and come on through. Save the date, August 8th. We will be in Laurel for our annual back to school giveaway, where we'll be giving book bags and school supplies away. It's a vendor opportunity where we raise money so we can give the book bags and schools. Kinds of local vendors. If you know any vendors that want to come and share their items for sale, and snow cone machines and face painting, we offer that along with a moon bounce, DJ. We have a good time. Double Dutch, all kinds of stuff will be out there this August the 8th. So please feel free to share that information. It's on our website as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go on mute. Believe it or not, I'm not going to say anything else until the end. I am going to show the video again because so that our participants on Facebook and YouTube will be able to see the video at the end. But welcome, Charisse. Thank you for part two. She did part one last. I'll let her in her way. Again, though, you wouldn't mind putting your name, your phone number, and email in the chat. If you have an organization or business, feel free to share that information, your website, and your information in the chat as well, so that we can stay connected. So welcome, Charisse, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it and just proud of you and appreciate all that you do to support the community and to uplift and empower and engage through these type of opportunities and talk through things that maybe we wouldn't be talking about if you didn't present the opportunity for people to talk and share in that way. So thank you for this space tonight. I'm in the same place. When we started this call, I was in a model home, and now I'm in the car. And I think on part one of this last year, I was in the same position. I'm always I'm always on the move. I'm always rolling. If you are a client or friend of mine, you know you could catch me in the car at 9 o'clock at night, pulled up in front of the driveway, like, okay, last call before I before I switch hats. So good evening to everyone. My name is Charisse Scott. As April said, I am coming to you tonight with my realtor hat on, but also know that blends to advocate, friend, legislative things that kind of, I don't know, God has just ordered my steps in this way. My background is in media and television production originally. And how did I come to real estate? Some background, Desiree Calendar and Associates Realtors. That's the name of our brokerage. Desiree Calendar is my mother, 40 years plus in the business. Next year will be 20 years since we established the family brokerage. I never saw myself being in real estate because my spirit and my heart has always just been to empower people through education and information. So through journalism, that was my pathway to be able to do that. Sharing people's stories, testifying, empowering their voices. I never thought that avenue or that mission would fit with real estate. um I kind of came in to support her corporately with, going independent as a broker because I had that experience. And she said, well, why don't you get your license? This is our family business, and you could do really well. And I was mature enough at that time, because I promise you, I never saw it coming. But I said, okay, I'll get my license. And the first transaction I had was an elderly couple about to lose their home. And they needed an advocate. They needed someone that could talk to the bank about what was going on and what they wanted to do, not just what was going to happen to them. And so in that moment, while I was empowering them, I was also being empowered to recognize that real estate is a lot more than just a transaction. It's a lot more than just buying or selling a home. It's often the inroads or the beginning of a huge transition in a person's life, whether it's through work or education or family or divorce or whatever, may be going on in their life. There's something that's changing. And that's the piece I think that speaks to me and why I enjoy doing what I do. And so that just kind of gives you a little background. I'm born and raised in the DC, Maryland area, raised my family here, been married 26 years. My parents are still here. I'm excited to see one of my friends and clients on the call tonight that I invited, because she's a real live example of standing on business as it pertains to real estate. Beverly, I call her Bevy, Scurry is on here, a transplant, right? From South Carolina or North Carolina. So she moved to the Maryland area from North Carolina, and we'll talk about her experience tonight, or I'll let her share it. When April asked me, and I in this season, standing on business, right? I know you all have heard that term before, but being able to see how your real estate can translate into business and income generation for you, even as an owner occupant, and being able to kind of come to it with a fresh set of eyes and a different perspective and mindset than what has typically been taught to us, what we've been typically trained on, right? So most people, if you've never owned a home before, you may be interested in learning more about first time home buyer programs, or incentives, things like that that can help you to be able to afford to get into the house. And that's good. But beyond that, thinking beyond that, when we look at what type of home I, when we look at what that home is really going to be able to do for us in the long term is the mindset shift that I'm hoping this call will be for everyone tonight. Even if you already currently own a home, this call could be a mind shift for you, right? Because you can be thinking, how long have I been here? How much equity do I have in this house? What can I do to transition this property to work for me? Do I see myself living here another 10, 15 years? I'm gonna stay here for the 30-year note that they put on me. So these are all things that I'm sharing with you because I want to spark your mind, get you to be inclined to ask questions, even if they're specific to yourself or to a friend or somebody or however you want to put it. The opportunity in having these conversations is to get your wheels turning and to get your questions answered so you can take action. I'm definitely an action oriented person. Um, like I said, I am if you can envision it, then it's supposed to manifest, in some kind of way. And it's just about having access to the resources. And the resources isn't always just the money, right? The resources are sometimes the people. I heard April saying before the call started, like it's in the room. It's in the room, right? What you need, the resources, the connection room. And so making sure that we take time to open our minds and our mouths to share who we are, who we have access to, what we do is the best way for us to be able to connect those dots and see it through. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. No, I'm just kidding because I know you're like, she just started. She already asked me questions. She didn't need to tell us anything yet. But I am gonna ask Beverly to open her microphone so we can tag team and talk. Hi, Babby.
Hi. So good to see you.
You too. You too. So how many years has it been now? 2 or 3?
3.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years.
So
2003.
Beverly was referred to me by a friend and client who lives in this area in a move into the DC market for work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a job here, and an old friend from college lives here, and I'm like, I'm looking for a realtor, and she referred Charisse to me, and best decision ever, especially me being a home. Like, I can't even say all the positive things from that experience working with Charisse, and still to this day, like, checking in on me. So yeah, thank you.
I'll become your realtor for life. Like you want someone that's gonna be there for you. And that's why I say it's the long term, right? So let's walk them through because I'm trying to remember if when we started, if we were starting with thinking about the income generation piece.
Yeah.
That you wanted to do that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know houses up here had basements. It's like a standard thing here, but not. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, yes, this can generate some income and people can live in the basement. So I knew that definitely I wanted the home that I purchased. Yeah.
And I remember the home that Beverly ended up picking. So how I shop is functionality, right? So if you tell me what it is that you're looking for in a home, I'm shopping for the function because that's something that you can't necessarily change. You can change the paint outside, you can change the curb appeal, you could change the carpet and the cosmetics, but the functionality of the house, that's where the value is. And this house, she was like, I don't know. It wasn't clicking off the box, just the exterior. But when we got into the house, it was like, okay, this is an interesting flow, right?
I think this is where you wear multiple hats, right? Like you not just selling homes, like you help think through the like me, I thought I'd be renting an apartment my whole life. I love the cushy, life of apartment living. And so helping someone to help, envision what it could be was, game changer for sure.
So lesson number one on this call is don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to what you think. Just don't, because sometimes our thinking can only go as far as we've been exposed or we're knowledgeable enough to take it, right? So they say never be afraid to dream. Start big, right? Because you in your mind, you think your dream is going to cost this much or take this much in capacity to attain it. But the resources, right? It's in the room. Sometimes you don't know. A lot of times people call me as a realtor and they don't expect to get all of that, right? Because they're just like, oh, she sells houses. Can you just take me to this house and open it and show me this, show me this house? I already got this and got that and that. And it's just like allow the people around you to pour into you, because you never know how much water they have to give you, right? If you come with a small cup, they might go like fill your cup more. So in your relationships that you're generating, and even on this call, I know as everyone kind of put in their information in the chat, it's a good thing because connections they grow strong. So with Beverly's house, the other thing that we ended up using was a different type of financing. Right. And so this is where the tools come in. So traditionally, an FHA financing is going to be like 3.5% down of whatever the price of the home is. That is the most attainable way for many people to go about purchasing a home. I had a seller the other day inquiring like, well, they're not putting that much down. And it's like, okay, that's not a bad thing. If you don't have to use all your coins to make the purchase, then why use all your coins? There's benefits there. So, when I say broaden your mind and broaden your perspective, understand that it's a strategy. It's not just a cookie cutter application of the information, right? Depending on what it is that you're trying in the long term, we will come up with a strategy that's going to be effective for you to obtain your goal, right? So with Beverly, the house had the functionality. It gave the opportunity, but there was still some things that needed to be done for this house to operate in the way that she wanted it to. And so we were able to introduce a 203K renovation loan. 203K renovation is an FHA product. Okay, so it still kind of functions in the same loan capacity, but it allows you to add a certain dollar amount to your purchase price for you to do the renovations, right? So imagine you find a house, the house is $350, and you want to, make it have a different kind of function, or even if it's just cosmetic. And so you say, okay, it's going to cost me $30,000 to have this work done. Well, then your house becomes, instead of $350, your loan becomes $380. And so you finance the cost of the repairs. That is a really, really good strategy. And especially if you're standing on business with how you want to manage your funds, building in equity for the property in the long term, doing like what Beverly did. And I'll let her share, because Beverly, you did yours in stages, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first, when we first purchased the home, we set up the basement so that it could be rented out, and added a kitchen and all the nice things to be able to market it, and was successful. We got a tenant in, what was it, over the summer, I think. and that went really well. And I learned a lot of things. And so all the things that I learned was like, okay, I need to do another renovation, just some slight changes in order to maximize this income property in the best way, so that, you know, it attracts more potential tenants, and especially, you know, on the professional side, those who kind of come through the area on you know, 6 months to a year type basis. And so I did some additional renovations and put all the things in that I needed to put in order to do a rental inspection and whatnot. And so, yeah, it was super successful. Even still, you know, I've got a new tenant in after the renovations. Well, actually, I'm on the second tenant after the renovations. So, yeah.
So there is endless possibilities. Especially in this market, a lot of people are looking for move-in ready home. And what's happening is it becomes competitive, right? Looking for move-in ready. So knowing that you have a product and an option where you might be able to look at a home that's been on the market for 80 days just because it's not presenting well in the pictures, look at the function. Look at the function of the home and consider where it's priced, what your budget is, you know, your pre-approval amount, and what the potential, what you can do, what you can turn it into. And so this is where I want to kind of take the conversation, because, you know, I was in an area today in Bowie, and there's a lot of land around, you know, and sometimes people are looking at land, they're like, oh, you know, I want to buy land and I want to build something. And that's not far-fetched. But just know that the climate that we're in right now is one where there's more housing that's needed, right? And so the opportunities to create that housing is becoming more and more readily available. And knowing how to go about that is going to be really critical and crucial. And to keep in mind is area. If you were born and raised in the DC, Maryland area, there are some cities that, you know, I have clients that are like, okay, I don't want to live in this part of town. I don't want to live in that part of town because of historically what they know about it or what they thought they knew about it, how it was when they grew up. Okay, well, it's been 20 plus years, 30, you know, years, and areas feel that way, but there's a lot of development. There's a lot of, you know, forward thinking. There's a lot of, you know, renovations and implementations of different things in various corridors where you could really take advantage of the opportunity that's there by being open-minded and thinking long-term, right? So you're not thinking, oh, I want a house that I'm going to stay in for 30 years. Remember, it wasn't that long ago before we weren't even allowed to purchase homes in certain communities. There were deeded restrictions against Black home ownership in certain places. So when we were able to buy homes, it was like, okay, I'm never going to sell because it took me forever to be able to even get to a place where I can buy. Okay. So that's a mentality, right? And it's a comfort because that is what we experienced as a people culturally. So where we are today is not there, right? So I'm not saying that you shouldn't think of, you know, going and having longevity in a home. If it's your forever home, it's your forever home. I'm speaking to the audience that needs to hear that you have options and that it's okay if you are looking at purchasing a house and maybe you're in the house for 2 years and you make that house work for you so that you can buy the next house, right? So you're strategizing your play. You're looking at, okay, maybe I'll buy in this area at a lower price point be comfortable in my space because I know it's temporary and set this up to work for me so that this can become income generating and I can buy the next thing, right? And love you may to combine your zoning you have to go through. But the point I'm making is that the availability and opportunity to operate in that space is much better now than it was before. So it is something that you should, take into consideration, especially if you're not working with a whole lot of capital to just get what you want. Think long term. People I have a client now getting ready to list. They've only lived in the house for 1 year. Seasons change, they're selling the house and they're walking away with equity, selling the home. They can take that equity and level up, level out, move out of the country, whatever you want to do. There are opportunities locally. There's opportunities for you to, if you're in a house right now, do a cash out refinance and invest in a business that's going to generate income for you. That business can be here. That business can be international, right? We are doing real estate outside of the country. There are investment opportunities where sometimes your money that is here might be longer in other places. So again, my hope with this call tonight is just to open our minds to what real estate can do for us, what it can be for us. I think one of my favorite stories I'll share, and then I'll open up the line to any questions or comments anyone may have, is the story of legacy and seeing people's property work for them. So this couple, I just sold their home. They were in that house for 30 years. And my mom sold them the property as new construction 30 years ago. They raised their children there. They were one of the first people in that community. And it was a process for them. But sold that house and retired themselves to Florida, bought a new house, in Florida with little to no mortgage because they had the capital. That is what you should be able to do. Not exactly that way. That's their story. But the point I'm making is they made that real estate work for them. It worked for their family while they were in it. And it worked for them retiring from it. And now they are just enjoying life, So with that, I wish that for everybody on this call, everybody who may be listening, that when you're thinking about your real estate, you're thinking about your short term, your middle term, your midterm, and your term goals, and that you work with someone and people be surrounded by people that can help you strategize that play to accomplish what you want to accomplish in the long term as well.
Let me just speak to a little bit about purchasing or not feeling worthy or feeling like you can, because I'm a first-time home owner, and I just bought my home. It'll be 3 years in September. But for years, 16 years to be honest, which was me coming out of my marriage, coming out of a domestic violence situation. Credit wasn't that well based on a lot of things. And those who have experienced domestic violence kind of know what I am talking about. When we walk away, we sometimes walk away with everything, and sometimes we walk away with nothing. And I walked away with nothing. And I was actually in fear of owning. I didn't think I could. I didn't think I had the capital. I didn't think I would be able to. Not to mention, some things that were planted in my head, that I couldn't have anything. I wouldn't have anything once I left the marriage. And so those who have experienced domestic violence or partner abuse, and they think they can't do it, you can. And I'll go ahead and plug Moms Pro. The founder of Moms Pro is on the line, but she helps single moms. And there was an organization called Moms Pro, and I actually entered the program. I think I was the oldest mom because I have adult children. And I entered the program, I thought just as support, because it was my, my bestie, my good girlfriend, starting a nonprofit helping moms. And I was, supporting, and I thought that would be great where we could kind of collab, her helping moms, I'm helping women and moms, with domestic violence. And so I actually ended up learning a lot and getting my, building up my self-esteem and wanting to buy a house and knowing I could do it based on some of the programs and taking and listening to realtors and listening to people who have purchased home. And I was like, that I want that for myself. And I was in my 50s. I'll be 57 in July. So I've only been in my home, it'll be 3 years in September. And even at my age, I thought, well, I'm behind the ball, right? I'm behind the 8 ball. I should have bought a home. And I was shooting on myself, right? I said shooting. Okay, I didn't use a cuss word. But we got to stop doing that. We got to stop shooting on ourselves. If it would have, should have, we can do it. We can do it. If we have the mindset and if it's in the will of God, we definitely can do it. Charisse, I'll share a little bit about our story. I wanted Charisse to sell me my home, but I got with the first time, I ended up with a first time homeowners program. And instead of researching, the organization that I went in referred me to a lender who then told me I had to use his realtor. So me not doing the proper research, I went with that. Even though Charisse had showed me some houses, I was told because I went through the program, I had to use their realtor, not knowing until I bought this lovely house that I could have used Charisse. And so that's okay, because she's going to sell this house, or we're going to do something with this house, and we'll talk about that later. So she's going to sell me a house, y'all, in the very near future, and we're going to figure out what to do with this house, because what I am realizing is that God blessed me with this house for a reason, which is what some of the things Charisse is talking about tonight, is that this is my starter home. So whether or not I'm going to create a business in this home, which is what we're talking about tonight, or I'm going to sell it, or I'm going to rent it out, we're going to do something, because we know we're not going to stay here. Oh, Jesus. And sometimes, like Charisse was saying, is that we may have to start out small or not be in the house we want to be in, especially first time homeowners. This isn't the end all be all, but it's mine, and I own it, and the equity that's going in it, and all the things that I still need to learn. And that's why I'm keeping Charisse around, so that she can still educate me. Whether or not I have the house or not, I still need to be educated on some things, especially if I want to make this house a business and turn it into, something more than just my home. So I appreciate her and the questions that we may have, ask them. And if you don't think you are capable, those who are listening and will listen later on, you are capable. You can do it. There are so many programs that you can get into to buy a home. So don't just think outside the box. Don't shoot on yourself. Don't think that you can't do it, because you can. I'm a product of, I didn't think I could, but I did. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that testimony for those who are listening, to say, okay, I'm not ready. If you keep waiting to get ready, you'll never be ready.
You'll never be ready.
I was the same.
People have fear. A lot of people have fear. And when you said that, April, I'm like, it's programmatic. The fear is programmed into you based on whatever your life experience has been. If someone hasn't spoken life, if you've gone through, like you were saying, with domestic violence, or whatever your life circumstance is, it programs your mindset. That's why I started out the conversation of, we're going to do a mindset shift, because if enough of us are doing a mindset shift, then it becomes a wave of positive movement in a different trajectory. And so there are people that fear their credit. They're like, I don't want it. I remember I had a client, she didn't want to check her credit score. I'm like, listen, first step in attempting to even think that you want to purchase is to talk to a lender, bank, whomever you trust in the moment. Get your credit checked and see what you qualify for. And if they tell you nothing, then you needed to hear that, because then your strategy changes to, okay, well, how do I change that? Because I know what I want is to buy a home or invest in real estate. What will bold up? First time home buyer programs. I think that even second time home buyers, like the couple I just shared with you, they bought their home. Things have changed a lot since the last time they bought a home. So even though they're not technically a first time home buyer, they're a new home buyer, right? Because it's new out here. And so with that, those programs are good because they give you a sensibility, and they connect you to different resources so you can kind of research and interview people and things like that. But I want to say this about first time home buyer programs. Oftentimes buyers are going after that because they're looking at how much money the bank can give them towards the transaction. There are other ways for you to get money from the transaction. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we were able to get a seller credit on your transaction, if I'm not mistaken. So the thing is that, if let's stick with the same 350. If you're buying a house for 350, I have somebody now who's working with Bank of America, and they're saying, hey, Bank of America can give me this extra $10,000. It's based on specific zip codes. The houses have to be in a certain area. But I'm like, okay, well, depending on the house you choose and the logistics of that house, how much it costs, how long it's been on the market, is it priced too high? All the things that your professional will be able to digest and process for you. You might be able to get that $10,000 from the seller. Sometimes people are listing homes with the buffer in there, anticipating that the buyer in this market is going to need some seller help. They're going to need some extra money in order to make this purchase work. So they put the house on the market anticipating that. There was a time shortly after COVID where it was like people were giving their firstborn for the house. There was no seller credit. There was, you're waiving an inspection, waiving an appraisal, waiving all these things just to get into the property. That's not the climate right now. And so again, the storyline can program your mind to think in one way. So if nothing else, from tonight, live each day like a new day, right? Not to say don't let what you learned yesterday inform tomorrow. Yes, let it inform tomorrow, but don't let it dictate tomorrow, because there are other nuances in the story that could change how you might move forward with doing something. And that's why asking the questions is so important, because it's nothing cookie cutter about buying a home, except that you have to have some money to put down. You have to you have to pay your note so you don't get foreclosed on. And you're going to be in there for a certain time period to withhold your mortgage. Like, those are the cookie cutter things that come with knowing that you have to buy a house. Credit can go ahead, Beverly. Did you want to say something?
I was just going to add, because one of those people that was like, I'm probably never going to buy a home, and how would I ever afford to buy a home? And one of the things that benefited me that I don't know if a lot of people consider was that you can take a certain amount out of your 401k. I think it was like penalty free for the purchase of a home. And so I was able to do that, and that helped tremendously. And, for me, preparing for a home before I even moved to the area was for just a matter of budgeting. Like, I didn't budget and do all these things, and so when I started that process of really looking at my finances and not like ducking my head on where I was spending money. It helped me be able to put some, more money aside. And so, sometimes it's just simple things, and just connecting with folks to even learn about the opportunities that you may have at your disposal, if you don't think you have enough capital already. So
I love that. Basically, like, don't count yourself out. There are options. And
yeah.
I'm gonna shout out Miss Rashida too, on here. I haven't had a chance to work with her program yet, but with what April shared and what she shared with me before, she goes through some of those things, the programmatic things of, how to budget and preparing. So again, you have a lot that are in the room that can work together to help you get to where you're trying to go. Don't feel like you're by yourself. Don't feel like, you have to figure it out on your own. Nobody's charging you to ask a question. I saw a lady today and I was like, if you need anything, here's my information or whatever. She's like the cousin of someone who's home. I just sold. And she's like, oh, well, and she said just what we're talking about. She's like, oh, I surely not trying to buy a house or anything. I can't afford it with these. And I'm like, so much more than just, needing to buy a house. Like if you rent a property right now, you might want to know, is my rental rate, is this what it's supposed to be? Don't think that hard about it. Just, we have to be more open to asking for help. And we have to be more open to, being vulnerable to people where you feel safe. So I love that April builds this as a safe space for you to ask questions and, get connected to the tools you need.
I think for me, I had, and I'm speaking for April, I had the hat on of a homeowner today. So for me, I had to change my mindset, to think that I could be a homeowner. Did I want to be one? Yes. But again, that mindset that, well, I'm renting, I can't do it based on my credit, based on what's in the bank, based on, the mentality that I believed that I couldn't do it. And sometimes even in the faith base, you have to step out on faith sometimes. About my house is my mortgage is like $600 cheaper than my rent.
Right.
Who knew? Like what? And I'm thinking the 16 years that I rented, I probably paid for that man's house, right? If I'm paying, what I was paying for 16 years, I know I paid for that man's house. But such a time as this 2.5 years ago, that's the season I was in. But just imagine if I had to change my mindset to believe I could do it. And here's the biggest thing, ladies, and that I deserved it, right? For 16 years I rented, I didn't think that I deserved to be a homeowner, right? And so I think the biggest thing for those who have going through domestic violence, this is not the end all. Where you are right now, you're not going to stay there. You know why you'll stay there? Because you want to stay there. And honestly, I wanted to stay there because I was comfortable. I was complacent. I thought that's all I could be. I thought that's all I could do. And so now, I'm looking at the tax breaks and I'm looking at, moving forward, like Beverly said, okay, what can this house do for me now that it's mine? Right. And Charisse is going to help me, figure out the next step. But we have to change our mindset and go, right. Talk to, maybe Rashida or Miss Beverly. Well, how did you budget? How did you get there? For me, because I still had to come up with a little bit of money. Thank God for the first times buyer program. Well, I didn't have to come up with a lot, but I tell you what I had to do. I had to stop going to Starbucks, right? I had to stop getting my nails done twice a month. I'm going to leave it right. I had to curb some things that I ended up saving the money for what I needed to pay the inspector, to pay, the on and on and on. But that was just discipline.
Yeah,
right?
Discipline for sure.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I had to learn, that I couldn't, get my latte every day. I still got it, but I didn't get it every day. But again, I had to learn how to budget, and change my mindset. And just every day I had a sticky pad up. I'm getting my house, right? My sticky pad. I'm getting my house until I believed I was going to get it, until I went to closing. So, if you're on the line, if you are thinking about it, don't think about it, just do it. All right. Talk to Charisse, look in the chat, or she's going to give her phone number at the end. Get the information so that you can change that mindset. So maybe it won't happen in 2026, but maybe it will, right? Maybe it will.
You never know. I've had
I
many
gave myself 3 more years. I'll be Charisse to get another house.
See?
It's
contagious now. It's contagious.
I've had people call and say, I don't think I'll be ready until like another 6 months, but I wanted to get started. And they call the lender and he's like, okay, you can go right now. Because you counted yourself out before you counted yourself in. So we 26 count ourselves in. Everybody is in. You in until you put yourself out.
And I got welcome, Tina. Did anybody have any questions that you wanted to ask in the next few minutes that we're on tonight? We're probably gonna bring Charisse back before the end of the year again. She knows she does part 1, 2, and 3.
We'll see if I'm in the car for part 3 too.
I know, I love it. We're gonna call it the car Scott car episode part 3 check-in, right? Did anybody have any questions? No, we all know no question is a dumb question. Did anybody have any questions they wanted to ask before we end the call tonight about being a first-time homeowner, having a home, turning your home into something else? Lisa girl, I see your hand.
Hey, Miss Charisse, how are you? Hey, April. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
I pray all of you are doing well. Hey, Charisse, I wanted to ask you, you are the realtor, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a cousin. She wants to rent a house. Do you assist people with renting as well?
Yes, ma'am. All the things.
Can I get your number, please, so I can pass it to her? She just asked me this today, so I didn't even realize this was about home ownership and stuff. So I'm glad I got on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's in the chat. It's in the chat too.
No, seriously, Charisse, and I'm gonna pay because she literally just texted me this morning.
Well, and I'll also give our website, which is an easy way to get all my contact information and have anybody register so we can get right back to them. But my number is 240.
Okay, wait a minute, 1 second. 1 second. Wait a minute, Charisse, now you're going a little faster.
And Lisa, it's in the chat also.
Huh?
It's in the chat.
Okay, well, I'm trying to forward the number right to her now.
Okay.
Because, dang it.
Take your time.
Wait a minute. No, it's people FaceTiming me and all this stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, Charisse. What's your number, baby?
No problem. 240
715 715.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
5138.
5138. I'm gonna tell her Charisse the realtor. And see, even with her, she might be in a position to go ahead. Saying
exactly.
But I know she asked me
because
about
the qualifications nowadays are extremely comparable. You gotta have credit. You gotta have a certain rental history, a certain income, So I mean, it's very comparable. The biggest challenge for people, right? And so if we can find a solution for the down payment part, then you probably are in a position to move forward with purchasing something. And like April said, she reduced her debt to income $600 buying from when she was renting. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just put my information in the chat again. Our website is very easy. To her. It's www.dcarealtors.com.
Okay.
dcarealtors.com. You have all our information there. You can register, ask questions, and we're here to help. Like I said, I stand on the shoulders of someone who's been doing this full-time since they were in their teens, 40 plus years, 20 years. Our brokerage will have been in existence in 2027. And we love what we do because we love people. We love people, seeing people get what they want out of life and achieving goals that they may have never thought that they could achieve. So it's, April and I and even Rashida go back from church days. And I don't think we foresaw well, we knew each other back then that we would be in this space in this way. So that's why I say, don't take your relationships for granted. You never really know what all they are supposed to be for you in your life when you connect with certain people to make things happen, not just for yourself, but direct impact and in contact with. So I appreciate the opportunity to share on here tonight.
And we have one more question also. Ms. Robin has her hand up.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. How are you, Charisse? Thank you so much for this phenomenal information. But I'd like to pull the equity out of my house. And you did mention that you touched on it earlier briefly. But can you just give me a little bit more dynamic? That is a good idea? You think it's a good idea? My husband and I want to pull the equity out and then take care of some things and possibly do some renovation. Actually, he wants to do some things with our backyard.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's situation is different, but the equity that you've gained in your property is there for you to leverage for what you need it for. That's you making your house. Process is pretty similar to buying a new home. I would send you to the lender, right? And the lender would tell you, they'll do an appraisal on your property and tell you based on your qualifications how much you could take out. It does change. It does change your note depending on your circumstances, right? So if you take from it that you're gonna end up paying it back, or you might own your house outright, right? So I don't know the specifics.
Not yet.
Okay. But it's there for you to do. And it's definitely something, especially if you're improving the house, that has different ramifications than if you're just doing like a cash out in general. Another thing I would just share on this call. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, you did.
To call me and I can connect you to a resource that will be able to tell you in short order with a quick application what you can do in terms of a cash out refinance and or whatever the refi that would be appropriate for you. But I'm going to just put this nugget out there because we may have heard about reverse mortgage, where you are in life. Reverse mortgage, like a 203k, could be a godsend for a certain buyer or someone who may be scaling down or just transitioning from one situation to another. You can use a reverse mortgage to actually purchase a home in reverse if you're over a certain age bracket and you have a certain restricted income. That product is there for you to have longevity of life. And so if you have a property that you can sell, that you have significant income on, or equity, right? You can take that equity, purchase a home in reverse and be paying just the taxes and insurance. And if there's an HOA, pay the taxes, insurance, and the HOA on the house, and the mortgage piece is in reverse. So then you can set that up. Because if you have heirs that are coming behind you, then now we're preparing the heirs to be able to take over that property when you pass. So now you're estate planning. You're not just buying a house, right? If you don't have heirs, then it's like, okay, this is my strategy, and when you pass, you don't have to worry about it. But you would have lived in a way that is comfortable for your future years.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And someone just texted me a question because they're at work, but they're listening, but they can't, they need their hands. So they texted and said they're in a mortgage, but I'm thinking about refinancing, Don't really know how that works. I was told your mortgage starts over. Is that true?
It depends is the answer. It depends. It doesn't start over. I think one way to think about it is you can be tacking on to the back, right? So depending on how long you've owned the house, if you refinance, like I was just telling Ms. Robin, you're going to have a note, right? It can either add to your note and spread out over a certain amount of time, or it just depends how the refinance is structured. And like I said earlier, it's not a cookie cutter thing. It's a thing where you call the professional, the lender or your bank. I like direct lenders. You call them, tell them what you want to do. They're going to pull the details on your house, appraise the property. If you're refinancing, she may be asking because maybe it's an interest rate. So a lot of people post-COVID, during COVID, they were able to get homes at 2.5% and 3%, which is crazy. Now, some people are at 7%. The rates are kind of leveling out. An interesting thing to note is that at one point, interest rates were at 11, 12, and sometimes 18%. So, probably in most of our purchase times, we haven't like when my parents bought their house, that's what the interest rates were, right? So when we can take that context, again, it's your mindset. You're like, oh, dang, I thought 6.5 and 7 was so terrible because 3 sounds so much better, but 3 is not realistic. 5, 6 is more realistic. 7, okay, well, based on your debt to income ratio, it's not cookie cutter. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. Your real estate story is yours, and it's very specific to you and your DNA. I'll put it like that.
All right. Did anyone else have any questions before we
Hi, as you know, of domestic violence, a survivor, and I'm wanting to get out of the home with him. My question is, are there any, I guess, opportunities out there for myself and my boys, my adult boys? We're all on Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And I am wanting to buy a home, but coming up with that first payment, kind of don't know where my status is as far as my score. I did just get a car not too long ago, so and I know what kind of where my budget needs to be, because that's what I have to do every month. I have to budget everything. And I know, well, I'm pretty sure it'll be more than what we're paying now. My husband sold his last house, and we bought this mobile home in 24, pay cash for it. It's probably going to go through divorce and be sold, but nobody had ever lived in it. So
okay.
And I
like
just
you
don't
have
know.
an asset. You have an asset. You have good opportunity because you just purchased something that required you to have credit and income. And I think that it's worth taking the next step to talk to the lender, help to assess your financial ability. That would be the best thing, because that's what's going to help to inform what your options are and what your opportunities are. Okay, so you can, like I said, feel free to call me, or you can go on our website and just register your information. You can text, and we can get you set up to have we can understand where you are, look at how that compares to your assets, and help come up with a strategy that can work for you and your boys. Okay.
Okay. Like right now, I mean, the home is paid for. The only thing that we're paying for is the lot rent.
Okay.
The lot rent's like 600 and something a month, and it's kind of like a HOA thing out here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm paying right now. I He doesn't have income at all. It's just me and my boys. So, well, he's gonna do what he's gonna do. But
I hear you.
but I God, compared to the last time, I just been looking at things to rent, and they are ridiculously priced. I'm here in Georgia, and it has gone up so much, so high that you might as well be paying that toward your own home if you're going to be paying that much.
Yeah,
So,
and Tina, that's kind of what I did. I was renting for 16 years, and I didn't know once I bought the home, and when I went to get my financing, when I found out that my mortgage was going to be $600 than my rent, I was like, whoa, I should have did this years ago. But here again, which I said earlier in the talk, is that we got to stop shitting on ourselves and just start a different mindset and start thinking that we can. And like Charisse was saying, give her office a call and let's start the process to see where you are right now. You may be in position to purchase. It may be a condo. It may be another starter home. It may not be, but you won't know unless you get the information and start the process. And even though I know you're not in Maryland, I'm quite sure Charisse can be able to find you some resources in Georgia. But I'm very proud of you for even thinking that, changing your mindset from when we first met, and knowing that you can do it. And I believe that you can. So you're definitely in good hands here with Miss Scott. So please look in the chat and definitely reach out to her or sign up so that they can get the process at least started to find out where you are financially to move forward. So
I also have a friend who's a realtor, and she sells luxury homes. So one from her, hers are like way priced. But
Never know. She might
said,
have other options. She might, just like the young lady asked me, do you work with rentals? You never know the scope of work that any professional can do,
right.
But,
all right. Well, we are going to close out tonight. Don't forget, ladies or gentlemen who are watching tonight, we will be back this Saturday at 6 p.m. Different username and password. If you go on our website, you can get our information or go on our Facebook page or Instagram, which is Angels Haven, and get the information for Saturday. But we do have a guest, David Collins, at 6 o'clock, and he's going to be a jewel. We will be back next Thursday at 7 o'clock. We have another guest. She's actually on tonight. Minister Christine Bill will be hosting next Thursday at 7. So please come back next Thursday. We're here every Thursday at 7 o'clock, unless it's a holiday. And then you'll hear from me whether we're going to meet before or the day after. But I'm always here. If it's just me and one person, I'm here. I'm here for you. So what I'm going to do, those who are in that are still on, if you wouldn't mind putting your information in the chat, phone number. Charisse's information is in the chat. I'll get with Charisse because her and I got to meet about some things, and then and we're going to talk about the next date before 2026 ends. But Charisse, thank you for always taking time out number one, to support Angels Haven, and just to be a good friend to me and sharing the information, the support that you give, information that you give, was very powerful tonight. And it was good nuggets. And so I hope everyone took something away tonight, with encouragement, knowing that you can do it. And it might not be right now, but I believe that I believe it will be. And so I'm looking forward to be on this journey with you guys to home ownership, or making your home into a business, and just getting information more how we can move forward with financial wealth. So we're going to close out tonight. I'll see you next Thursday, hopefully at 7:00, or Saturday at 6:00 here on Zoom. If you would like to stay on, those on Facebook and YouTube haven't seen the video. So we're going to share the video, and it is a domestic violence survivor video. And it's just encouragement for those who are in partner abuse or domestic violence. It's encouragement to show the then to the now. Listen to the words. The words are very powerful, about loving yourself, which is what our support group is all about, loving yourself and knowing that you can do it. Because if I can do it, Lord knows you all can do it. So again, thank you everyone for taking time out tonight, for being here, getting information. Again, Charisse, thank you so much. I love you dearly. And let's connect. I work from home tomorrow, so give me a call if you have time. But for those who want to stay on just to listen to the video, or to hear the words or watch the video, I'm going to show it now. And again, thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Oh, no, I'll see you Saturday at 6:00. Give me one moment to share my screen.
I remember nights I couldn't speak. Broken pieces on the floor. Tried to be what hurt me more. Silence wrapped around my voice. Didn't know I had a choice. But God saw every tear I cried. Every time I asked him why. In the dark he called my name. Said, my child, you will rise again. What was meant to break me built the strength inside. Now I walk in purpose. I don't have to hide. Love yourself. You made it through the fire. Love yourself. You're walking in his light. Every scar, every tear had purpose. Now you rise, stronger on the other side. Love yourself. Love yourself. From the ashes I found grace. God restored the pain erased. Now my voice won't be denied. I was chosen for this fight. For the women still in fear. For the ones who need to hear. You are more than what you've been. God is writing you again. What was meant to break you built the strength inside. Now you walk in purpose. You don't have to hide. Love yourself. You made it through the fire. Love yourself. You're walking in his light. Yeah. Every scar, would hurt you. You are who God says you are.